should still show missed
Yeah,
call.
let me grab my phone because I haven't gotten that, so that's
Hey,
scary.
Beth.
Whose dog is that?
I think that was her door.
Oh. It sounds like our pug squeaking.
Aisha, I have nothing from you. What number do you have?
Hang on. Now I gotta go find you again.
I would not.
Start with a 7.
So it should be a 703 number, yep.
7.
I've gotten nothing from you.
703-401-9476.
Yes, but I haven't gotten anything from you.
I called, it went to voicemail and I hung up. Okay.
I haven't got, well, okay, well, wait a second. It says St. Charles, Missouri.
That would be my Google Voice number.
That's just under my recent, but I didn't get anything in my voicemail and I didn't get anything in my text message.
No, when your voicemail picked up, I hung up.
Oh,
I don't like leaving messages.
well,
Beth knows that. I'll just text. I hang up and then I text.
Well, and for whatever reason, Stacia, your number doesn't always come through as the number I have. So like the number I message you at always shows that it shows up as a different number.
I have 2 phone numbers for my cell phone, and it depends on if it's going through on Wi-Fi or if it's going through on the cell tower.
well, now I've got it as your name. So if you call again, it'll come up. I've been getting all these robocalls and like crazy on my phone. If I don't recognize the number anymore, I almost don't pick up.
I
don't ever pick up if
Never.
I don't know the number, period.
If the number's not in my phone with a name, I don't pick up. They can leave a message.
That's what I've been doing because it's just been,
I've done that for years.
well, with all this stuff with the new job, I have all these like
No.
people calling me. They're saying, did you get the laptop we mailed? I'm like, no. Have you gotten the emails? I'm like, no. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I have a bunch of new numbers and stuff coming through.
Well, any new number that calls me has to leave a message. And if I want to talk to them, I add them to my phone.
I just text you.
Yeah,
That's like the car warranty ones. I keep getting those.
yeah, I get those
Yeah.
too.
So every time they leave a message, I go back in, I delete the message, I block the number, but they just keep calling from different
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, they do.
Doesn't matter.
If I answered all the calls I got in a day, I would never get anything done.
Yeah, they spoof. So they always seems that it's coming from your area code.
Yep.
The hard part is my husband's work number just comes up unavailable. So I have to look at the number to see if it's him or a sales call. So I'm like,
We have a service, well, I don't know, since T-Mobile and Sprint merged. Used to be for Sprint, you could pay extra to have it where if it wasn't like a identified number with a name, they had to announce who they were or it wouldn't put the call through, but you
I've
had to
seen that.
pay extra for it. And I was like, I pay enough.
Yeah, our bill's crazy.
I'm on the phone.
Well, I didn't mean to ignore you. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
We're good to go.
All right, we're good to go. All right. I know, I thought we would have more people, but
Yeah.
okay. Well, we're going to start with what we've got and figure out. I thought we'd have more people on here.
I thought a couple people were coming too.
Well, I mean, I had a couple people actually message me that they were coming. I know that Emily is still at work, so she has to try and get home. I know Lynn's just getting off of work. So she's usually a little bit late.
I'm never off work.
It's all right. We'll go with who's here.
Yep. So I mean, I'm guessing that you guys aren't going to have a lot of questions, but let's start with that. Does anybody have any questions from Basic 5?
No, but Joan loved it.
Joan loved it?
Yeah.
Good, good. The whole purpose of getting people on a training before they get started. So have you had a follow-up with her already, Stacia?
I had a quick one today. I texted her last night when I couldn't sleep, like at 3, and she texted me back at 6, which by then I was asleep. And said that she loved, I asked her about the basic 5, how she liked it. Did she have any questions over anything? And she texted back, said she loved it. She didn't have any questions right now. And she was going to get me an answer ASAP about the conference tickets.
Okay,
Good.
excellent. Excellent. So, and she's working on her contact list for you guys to go over your approaches, right?
Yes. And she thinks she already has somebody. She's trying to find get a couple of several options for availability to set up a phone call with.
Okay,
So, and I have somebody else I'm supposed to call tomorrow morning. That's a new one.
okay, excellent. So just so you guys know, we are taking off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That doesn't mean I can't text, but we're taking off for our 35th anniversary.
Woohoo!
And we've got Sean and Madison and the baby coming to visit this weekend, and hopefully cleaning the house and hopefully possibly moving some things over. We'll see. But so we're going to take a few days off. So just when you're scheduling your stuff, they're coming in Thursday. I am doing an appointment with Denise Thursday night, but I am trying to push everything into Tuesday and Wednesday this week so that we can spend some time and actually do something with our family for more than 10 hours. So anyway, so that's that deal. And
35 years.
35 years.
That's a long time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that is a long ass time.
That's only 35 years married.
Yeah.
We've been together a lot longer than 35. So anyway.
We went to Cottingham Stadium together, Maria
And lost our car.
and Charlotte.
Not that big of a parking lot
Oh,
Oh,
we didn't.
we weren't in the parking lot.
on the street. Good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we wandered the streets after a game trying to figure out where did we park.
It's
We're
such a
so
lovely
in
neighborhood.
love.
Yeah.
Not a great
I
neighborhood.
parked outside
either.
the mall once and came out the other side and thought for sure. Went in and reported my car stolen until security drove me around the parking lot and I found it on the opposite side of the mall.
Well, at least it wasn't stolen.
True. But I have the worst sense of a direction. Don't ever follow me anywhere.
Good to know.
Oh, funny.
You would have to.
So I'm going to ask the question again because now that Harry and Walter are here, do you guys have any questions before we get into anything tonight? Do you have any questions that came from Basic 5 or anything that you want to ask or discuss? Walter, you're on mute. Harry, you're on mute too.
Now, I went back over some things. I was looking at the part about goals and things like that, which I thought was very helpful. And so I want to do a goal statement like the one, Pip was reading, put it out in the future,
Yep.
That type of thing. But no questions really. There was a lot of info. I took a lot of pictures, which I'm going to go back over as well. So I had to kind of run right after that.
Okay.
No doubt there's a lot of info.
And I actually have, there's a Basic 5, I guess, with Dennis Franks on YouTube. And I've looked at that several times for various sections of it. If you want to look up something or reference something that he said, you can kind of pick out a section. And so that's good.
Yeah.
I think Jim Winkler has a good one on there too.
It's actually Dennis and Jim. So Dennis does, I think Dennis did 3 of the segments and Jim did 2 or vice versa. I don't remember which, but it is broken down into the segments and they shared them.
Right.
So very good. Walter, did you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. We've done several things since that, following up. I had actually just started reading that book the week before.
Can you get closer to the computer so we can hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I said, we've done several things since that training, just following up, but I had already started reading that book the week before. I shouldn't say started reading it because I read it in about 30 minutes. So
Which book?
we're working fine.
Oh, is he frozen?
Yep.
He just froze.
Am I unfrozen now?
I can hear you, but your
It's just-
picture's frozen.
Well, that's the most important thing, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
need to-
Oh, there you go.
Here I am.
Yep.
Can you see me now?
You're back.
Okay,
What was the book?
the Getting Started book.
The getting started.
Okay, great, great. So I'm actually going to just highlight what Charlotte and I did with you and Lynn last night, because I think this is really important. Just again, you know, we always talk about trust the process, and it's the process and teaching the process and getting the process down. And so like Pip said, it's a lot of information. It is, but the thing is, we are so programmed to be a very good little sergeant, a little good employee. That's what we're programmed for. And this makes everybody, it makes all of us think outside the box and figure out how we're going to move ahead as an individual and as a team. And so when we look at that, I just want to say, Lynn and Walter, I mean, just like everyone else, they've had this kind of curve of learning the process, just like Stacia. I mean, just like everyone, it's a curve. And Walter, you guys did such a good job last night on that call. And I know that we didn't have time to do a post-game report because it was late, but I wanted you to know, and I want to highlight for everybody, they did such a great job. So let me go back. Basically, they did the process that Lynn contacted me and said, and I say Lynn contacted me. She contacted Charlotte and I, and she said, I've got people who are ready to see the business part one. And so we went back and forth via text, found the right time for everybody, created the Zoom link, sent that out, and then she sent me bio sheets on the people. And I just want you guys to know, without those bio sheets, there's no way that I can create, or whoever's doing that call with you can create a valuable conversation quickly. It's not for me to say, oh, Kathy, I understand that you were in the salon industry before, but you've been through a really bad divorce and now you moved to Phoenix. No, that is not what it's about. But what happened is, because Lynn gave me those details on the bio sheet, I was able to, when I went through shop.com as a quick little overview at the beginning, I didn't jump right into the business because I had never met them before. So I'm realizing, as we're doing these via Zoom, in the house, we always had time to connect with people before we started the presentation. We've lost that ability on Zoom. So I'm realizing that we've got to take some of that time up front, because a couple months ago, we were jumping right into the business plan. And people don't trust the people that they haven't met yet. And so we become that salesperson from afar. That, what's she going to try and sell me now? What's he going to try and talk me into? So we've realized that we have to start with a little bit of a get to know you, trusting, trust building type process. So with that being said, we did that first, and I've learned that I can really do that with just showing shop.com. So we got on the website, I did a little overview of shop.com, and in that process, I went to the branded products and I said, I don't know, you know, we probably all know people who are in the salon industry who, you know, would be interested probably in cosmetics or skincare or things like that. And down in the corner, one of these pictures, I see Kathy going, and I kind of pretended I didn't see it right away, and she kept going. And I went, Kathy, did you have a question? And she went, well, I was in the salon industry. So again, it's now her telling me, not me saying, so I understand you're in the salon industry and I'm going to try and sell you on something. Instead, I made it her idea to tell me she was a part of the salon industry and get excited and passionate. So you guys did an incredible job of sharing the little bits and pieces. Lynn did, I think, 2 slides. You guys interjected with a little bit at the end because, again, it's important for them. They know you guys. They don't know Charlotte. They don't know me. So Charlotte and I shared the slides back and forth, but they don't know us. And so I brought it back around to Lynn and Walter because you want to bring it back to the people who know the people. So when you're doing 3-way calls together, always wrap it back around that I wanted Lynn and Walter to say something at the end. And Walter, you were brilliant. And you probably don't even know what I'm talking about yet, but you were brilliant at the end. You went to Kathy and said, when Kathy said, well, I'm going away, I'm leaving Tuesday morning and I'm going away for a month, so I don't think that I can get on a call. And Walter said, do you have a cell phone? And she went, well, yeah, I have a cell phone. He goes, do you have an iPhone? She goes, yeah, I have an iPhone. And he was like, well, you can jump on your iPhone on Zoom. That posture was everything.
Oh, good.
So yay. So I wanted to pick that apart because it's just these little things. It's not any kind of, it's not rocket science, but it is these little things that connect people and make and build trust.
And it is the little things that make the difference.
It is.
Like when we talked about words to use and not use, those little things make all the difference.
They do. And I'm going to go back, and Stacia and I had the call from hell. And I think we should pull this out, Stacia, because they don't all turn out good.
She's nuts.
She is nuts. I mean, I hate to say that, but this was a woman who was trying to sell herself to Stacia that she met in an entrepreneur Facebook group, trying to sell herself to Stacia of why she'd be so great and why they should do this. And she fell in love with Stacia. That was very obvious. So we get, it was your charm, my dear. And we get on the call with her, and it was very obvious to me that no matter how hard I was trying to connect with her, she was not having it. She definitely felt like I was the salesperson from afar. So I kept saying, Stacia, why don't you tell, and I don't remember her first name, it doesn't matter, but why don't you tell Susie about this? And as soon as Stacia would start to speak, she'd be like all lit up. But every time she spoke, there was no consistency. Like she'd tell us one thing, and then a minute later, she was telling us something different. And I'm like, ooh, like this woman is not got it together. Something is not connecting. And I'm sitting there, and then she started getting a little bit almost belligerent with us over the fact that we were taking up her time, and she had a dinner date with her husband. And we're like, well, we didn't book the meeting at this time. So anyway, we were trying to get her off the phone so she could go to her dinner date because we were only on for like 35 minutes. And at like 29 minutes, we're trying to get her to go. And she kept talking. So she ended up coming back to Stacia and saying, you made me miss my dinner with my husband.
Oh
But
my
you were the
gosh.
evil one.
Yeah, Stacia wasn't evil. I was the evil one. I'm a bad person.
And I was like, okay.
You
I didn't
dodged the
block
bullet.
her, but I didn't block her, but she got dropped way down in the connection list and archived. And okay, let's keep our distance from that fruitcake.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
She was,
Yeah.
So they're not all good. They're not all good. But the thing is to be on there together. And again, at the beginning of my business, I tell you guys all this all the time. I did a lot of stuff by myself because I didn't work well with my sponsor. We were very, very different people. And that's why I say reach out to each other, because it's not always going to be me that's the best person to put on the phone call with you. And I love that you guys are reaching out to each other because you want the best person, or try to match that best person. But you want somebody to be on there with you, because I allowed these kind of nutbags in the beginning days of my business to talk me into bringing them on board, or what I would say, riding the fence. I rode the fence with people way too long, and it wasted my time, I don't want that. We talk about this all the time. We don't want you guys to go through that. We want you to find the right partners. And when someone's just going to ride you, I mean, getting on the phone call with Stacia, we were able to nip that right away, because if Stacia had to do that by herself, she probably would have been going, well, you know, she might not have noticed it right away, but it shined through that she was not the right one at this moment.
He was really, really, really sunshine and rainbows and unicorns with me, but she turned into Maleficent when Beth talked to her. So it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. It was kind of humorous. So anyway, I share that because you got to know they're not all good. And so all we did is we just now at this point took her off the list and we moved forward, and that allows Stacia to now just move forward to the next one. I mean, I loved when you texted me and just said onward.
I have enough crazy in my life.
That's right.
Well, and sometimes people just disqualify themselves, and, you know, it's just good to get a decision, you know, and we used to talk about the fact that you want a decision as quickly as possible, even if the decision was no, at least move on. It's the ones who are on the fence forever that, you know, make a decision and let's move on.
Yep.
One of the ways I found that people were completely uncoachable is when they would do the Jumpstart, the 21-day challenge kit, and they were so all over the planet and making me wild. I knew not to even ever approach them about the business because they could not follow the most simple directions, or they had to always rework everything. And it was like 3 months of hell with them. And they say, oh, it didn't work. I'm like, because you couldn't follow directions. So they kind of disqualified themselves.
Well, and it feels good. It does feel good to say, like my report to JR yesterday was, you know, I report everything we do individually and then everything we do with each of you that we've done during the week. And I said, Stacia and I had a call to this woman, and then I wrote disqualified. And it felt so good to report to JR that we just disqualified her. Done. Over. Moving on to the next. So to answer your question, Stacia, no, I did not hear back from her. I've texted her twice and I have not heard back from her. So I do think it's worthy for you to reach out to try and have a conversation so that we can at least let her know what her options are.
I might send you what I'm going to send her to make sure I'm explaining it right.
Sounds good.
I don't want to get that wrong.
No, you don't want to get that wrong. You're absolutely right. Sounds good. So going back to some of that, I think that one of the things coming off the basic 5 that we wanted to draw out is coming back to the why a little bit, and we want to dig a little deeper on that tonight. But I want to give one more experience that we had, and that was I was doing a planning call, so that getting started with Emily today, and we were discussing one of the girls that works with her, who she thought last week she thought might be a good candidate. And so when we were talking about her names list today and talking about the people on it, we started talking about this girl, and I asked, you know, what about her? And she said, you know what? She said, I don't think right now is the right time. I think that she'll be a very good apprentice for right now, learning and absorbing everything I'm teaching her because she wants to. She's a sponge, but she doesn't have the posture or confidence to be able to go out there and talk to people right now. And she has expressed that to me, and she's concerned that she won't have the money to be able to keep her business afloat because she doesn't know how she would get customers. So it brings us back around as to why we do the trial run. So Emily's got her on a trial run, but she doesn't know if she's on a trial run. They work together in the fitness center. And so she's on a trial run because she works with her every day. She's seeing clients. So the trial run is she's going to see how much does she absorb, how much does she then spit back out to the clients to potentially create customers. And if she does, that's part of the trial run. She can always go back to her and say, would you like these customers to be yours, or should I take them? So the trial run is that time period where you're going to really see whether somebody is doing the things they need to do, so that we don't make the mistake of bringing somebody on board to then not have them do. But at some point, the trigger has to be pulled. And it doesn't have to be that they have a person coming on board with them. I know a lot of times when JR first started talking about this again, when all this COVID stuff hit and he started doing his weekly calls, he was kind of like, okay, well, you know, when they have somebody they brought to the table, and then a lot of people took that to be literal, that they had to have a business partner before they were allowed to come on board. No, leading to people might be leading to customers, and they have so many customers, it makes no sense for them not to come on board, because if they don't have ownership of it. And that's really important, because then it's still your business. And if they don't want ownership of it, then kind of move it to the side and don't put all your energy into that. Because when you're putting your energy into someone like that, that's just taking you along and along and along and along, what happens is you get drained and you're not making your calls for new people. And then you fall back on not doing your 1 to 2 per week, whatever you've committed to. So do you have anything to add to any of that? I know we're going to talk about the why.
Mhm.
No?
No.
I covered all that. We have all these discussions when we're taking our 10K walks.
Yeah, we have our board meetings.
Um,
And then we always get back and say, what did we talk about? And we always said we should write in our notes as we're going, but we don't.
sometimes you'll voice it.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't take my phone with me, so I can't do it. So what I want to do is dig into the why, because here's the thing that we're realizing. And you all have all experienced this. When you ask somebody why they want the business, what do they say?
Money.
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 Mm-hmm.
They want money to replace something. But the thing is, we need money to replace something, but I ask you, when you get that money, what are you going to do with that time now that you have? Because you're no longer trading time for money. So like right now, I probably put, I don't know, 3 hours a day.
Depends on the day.
It depends on the day. I'm going to say on average, I might put 3 hours a day into our business, because I'm very committed. I want to grow. I want to help you guys grow. But between the calls I'm doing for myself and calls with you guys, so on result producing activities, because like today we took like 2 hours to shoot a video that should have taken me a minute and a half, but I knew that I had to get it right for Sarah or she was going to be very unhappy with me. So I was on like 27 takes. So, but that's not result producing activities. That is me saying, yes, I will help Nutrimetrics and I'm happy to do that. That is us saying to Dana, yes, we will help you with this project at corporate. That is not result producing activities.
It's volunteer.
It's a volunteer army.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at what I actually put in, it's probably 3 hours a day. So you have to look and say, what would you be doing with your time if you had the money coming in? So when you're sitting with people, you really want to get down with them is, what would you be doing with the time if you had the money coming in? Because a lot of people will say, I need the money so I can retire. I need the money because I've lost it from my job. I need the money because I lost my job. I need the money because I need to, you know, send my child to college. Whatever it is, great. But now when you have that money coming in to do those things, what are you going to do with your time? Because if you don't have a purpose, and we all have a purpose on this planet, but we have been so trained to get an education in something, go out and get a job or a business and run it hard. And JR always talks about working smarter rather than harder. And smarter is leveraging your time. So when you have leveraged income coming in, I want to know from each of you, if you're willing to speak up, what is your passion? What is your purpose? What is the value you bring to this planet? If money was not an object, what would you be giving back to this planet to be able to help it advance forward? Is it people? Is it animals? Is it nature? What would you do if money was not an object, meaning you did not have to go to work to earn it. You weren't trading time for money. What is your purpose on the planet?
You're asking us now?
I am. You want to go first?
Sure. Well, what I always have liked to do is, being my personality type, I like lists and organizational things. So I always like to show people what they can do to get what they're already doing done more efficiently. Like my brother-in-law is now a widower with 4 kids. And so I walked him through, I sent him my menu plan and sent it to him. I said, you know, here it's, you know, you plan out, do a menu for a month at a time. And then here's where it makes your grocery list. And then you go off and cross out what you already have. And then it takes from that and it makes your shopping list. And then you just go through and order it. And I said, I don't have to sit here and go every night, what am I making for dinner when I get home from work? Because I already know this is what I have groceries for. You know, might swap a day around and stuff. And he's got, you know, 2 teenagers out of the 4 kids. They can get stuff ready and get stuff started for dinner while he's at work and stuff and things like that. And that we have, you know, we have a chore list where we have the household cleaning broken up for both kids. Every day they have a specific chore that they have to do, you know, so things like that help people.
That's awesome. So here's the thing, I'm going to pull on that because we all have talents. We all have skills. We all have something we've been gifted with by God. So now you look and say, okay, so Stacia is a very well-organized person. Do any of us know people in our lives that would like to have a little bit more organization in their life? Yeah. We all know people. Now, do we know people who want as much organization as she has? That's very structured. Not everyone wants that much structure. But Stacia, what if you could provide and do that for people to bring them more structure, more organization to their crazy life pattern, and you didn't have to worry about money. The money was just coming in.
Be more fun.
Would life be more fun?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, she has to go to the job every day to make the money to be able to pay the bills. If the bills are paid, are you just going to sit around and do nothing? Because that's not fun. That's boring. So, you know, it's funny because I don't know how many of you know retired people, but a lot of people, when they retire, they're like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my time. And then, like, I know our sister-in-law, Nancy, when she retired 2 years ago?
Yeah, or 3 years ago.
3 years ago, whatever. She didn't retire. And every time she tried to retire, she was like, I can't retire because I don't know what I'd do with my time. And so when they were down here a couple of years ago, we had a conversation and I said, Nancy, you love this, 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 and this. Like, what if you gave back to others in those areas and actually like found something to volunteer for that brought you happiness? And she was like, yeah, I got to find out what that is. We get so squashed in our lives that we totally lose sight of who we are. And you all have a purpose that's so much higher than the job you're going to, unless the job is something you absolutely love. I could tell you my purpose. I have been speaking about balance in life from a soul perspective, a physical perspective, a financial perspective, an emotional perspective, a mental perspective. I've been teaching balance. Like I actually have, I almost said PowerPoint, overhead projector slides from when I actually taught for the OT Council on balance in life. I've been teaching balance my entire adulthood since I was like 19 years old. So I know that that's my purpose. I feel it. It makes me thrive to help people find that purpose. And we used to do this face-to-face and do dream boards and cut out pictures and glue them to a poster board. It's hard to do that on Zoom. So that's why we're trying to draw this out, and we're in this nice little comfort environment where we all know each other now, that I don't want you to feel like, oh gosh, if I say this, people might think of this. I don't care about what anybody else here thinks.
Yep.
Because you all have a purpose.
Yep. And the thing that we're getting at is The money that Harry mentioned, everyone says they want the money, is not going to get you what you want. It's that emotion that Stacia talked about, whatever that is going to drive you. Because a lot of people, and looking around, you're probably very all comfortable. At least my perception is you're all comfortable. You have good living. That doesn't drive you. What drives you is the passion and the emotion, whatever it is inside here. So a lot of people say they want to get to a pin level, and you ask them what they want. It's the pin level. That really won't drive a person to make the phone call, to pick up the phone, to make the contacts. But if it's a lifestyle, something that changes the lifestyle, and that's the focus, that will do it more than the money.
Absolutely.
Even in corporate America, people aren't motivated by money as much as you think. They're mostly motivated by recognition.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that this company is very big on, and every meeting system has recognition, and that's on purpose, because people thrive for recognition and they don't get it in their corporate world. So we want to make sure that when we bring people from a corporate world into one of our meetings, they see there's recognition. And the recognition is extremely, extremely important, because most people don't get that at their job. They get yelled at, they get blamed. Sometimes they'll get an attaboy, but it's 2 to 3 times as many blames as it is an attaboy. And sometimes the attaboys are offhanded. That's just the way corporate America is.
At my last job, I used to always say thank you for everything they did, like every day, and made sure that I gave them as much flexibility as I could, because I couldn't give them a lot of money, but I tried to make them feel appreciated, because they felt so unappreciated when I got there. They were on the verge of quitting. And I thought, that doesn't cost anything.
No.
Just having somebody say, thank you for doing this. I mean, it was so little. It was silly,
Yep.
little.
So,
It's true.
Charlotte, would you like to, do you know what you want? Do you know what drives you, what your passion is?
I have a couple different, but one of the things, I like this business. I would like to do this when I'm retired. This is what I enjoy, and the whole helping people get healthy really makes me happy. And I get to go back to when I was in college and I was a nursing student, whereas I really enjoyed like nutrition and making people healthy. I just didn't like being around sick people, as far as having the one to give them their meds and IVs and things like that. So I get to go back to enjoying something I like, and I would like to do this because I have so much energy. I can't imagine myself just sitting around all day reading a book. I'm going to have to do something, and I enjoy this. And I like the flexibility, because one of the things that's really important to me is that when I was having my kids, my parents were taking care of their parents, and I had no help. I had no one to help with 3 kids. That's why Lynn Austin and I are such good friends, because we call each other at 3 a.m. saying, I need help, because we had no one. And I want, when our kids have kids, I want to be able to help them a little bit, because I remember being so alone when Jim was traveling so much that I would like, this is kind of my, it sounds crazy, but the business is kind of my goal, because even after I made a certain amount of money, I think I would still do it because I like it so much.
Yeah,
We just said
we
that
said that today.
Charlotte, this is huge, because again, I've seen all of your goal statements. If you've sent me your goal statement, I've seen it.
I have.
And some of that's in your goal statement, but it's not all there.
It's changed. Some of it's changed.
Okay. So I would say, again, your goal statement's an ever evolving process. It's not something like, I've changed my goals and rewritten them probably 3 to 4 times this year already. And once because we met some of it, but 2, I changed the structure of the words because they just weren't resonating. And then one of the things I said is how I wanted to give my time back. And I had it very specific, and I realized that wasn't hitting me. And so I had to restructure it, because I realized it wasn't exactly what I was saying. It was something different. I still wanted to give back, but it wasn't the same program. And so things change, and you need to get that in writing, because I read that statement every day. You don't want to be reading the wrong thing, because your subconscious is as dumb as a rock. your subconscious only takes in what you feed it every day, which is why JR talks about programming the brain.
That's right.
So the subconscious is as dumb as a rock. Why do you want to feed it something that would be wishy-washy? Feed it what you want it to believe every day. And as you read that goal statement and look at those pictures every day and see it visually, what's going to happen is eventually your brain just believes that's the way it is. That's why you talk about writing it in the past tense like it already happened, because the subconscious is so stupid, it actually will believe it already happened and then make it happen. I mean, this is scientifically proven. This is not me just talking. I know, Denise, you've been through this with me. I feel like I'm Mark J on a 100 power right now. I keep going back to this in my mind because I'm like, what? I get frustrated because I get frustrated for you guys because I feel like all of you would like to be further ahead than where you are. I hear your frustration. I read your notes to JR if you're reporting. I see all the comments you guys make, and we want it for you, but something blocks you from moving forward. So we said, we've got to dig down deeper. We got to pull you guys out because each and every one of you are so incredible and have so much superpower. And for whatever reason, you squash it. And yes, Maria, you're going to get chosen tonight. So you better smile in that middle seat. You're in my middle Brady Bunch seat tonight.
Yeah, she's Alex.
So Charlotte, I would rewrite your goals because that was huge.
Well, and I need to because my goal statement is dated October 1st, 2020, and I haven't gotten there yet, but I think it's time to rewrite it. But I keep mine right in the front of my planner and I read it twice a day. I've been really trying. And then I've been trying to that's one thing I am really good about doing. Sometimes I miss a video here and there, but I've been really trying to do that and improve what I put in my brain.
Good. And the science behind the audios and the videos too is the same thing. It's what you feed your brain. And if you're constantly listening to positive messages and affirmations, then you're gonna have more success. And unfortunately, and I'm kind of gonna go back like with corporate America, we're inundated with negative messages constantly. Advertising, the whole thing with advertising, the subliminal message in advertising is you're not good enough unless you buy this. And the whole thing with magazine advertising and television advertising, it's you would be better if you used this, if you bought this, if you consume this. And so they're constantly saying you're not good enough unless you do this. And that's again why I talk about turning off the TV and getting out of that. And, get into reading the positive messages. And, even on YouTube, a great thing to listen to is commencement speeches. And I like to find commencement speeches because they are so positive that everyone writes a positive commencement speech because they want it to be memorable for the class. And some of the best things I've listened to are, people you would know when they're giving a commencement speech. And it's great stuff. It's very positive.
Very positive. Awesome. Awesome. Maria, you want to go next?
Sure. I can already tell you one of the things that's blocking me is that too much of what I currently have written and on my goal board, my dream board, is about me.
That's a huge discovery.
And now that we're sitting here having this conversation, it's very selfish. I mean, I have, I want to do things with the kids and I want to provide for the grandkids and all that. But as far as giving back, I think I would like to do local work with cancer patients. Whether it be driving to chemo, doing things in the home, because I know how hard that is. I'm going to cry. So I know how hard that is when you can't get out of the house to even go to the grocery store. And you have to call somebody to come in so that you can take 30 minutes to go get your hair cut. I'd like to be able to do that for people that are going through that because I know how hard that was. And
Maria,
I had a lot of great friends that helped me, but it's hard for people to always ask for help. So I think that's what I'd really like to do. And of course I want to golf. I'm going to be selfish. I do want to golf more.
And
But there's nothing
you
wrong
have
with
to
that.
have
Yeah,
things for
you
yourself
have to.
too.
You have to, Maria, here's the thing. You're one of the most unselfish people I've ever met in my life. You're all about helping the next person over top of helping yourself first. And we've already had that discussion. You got to take care of yourself first before you can help others. But the thing is, right now, you financially are okay, but you don't have the time to do those things that have meaning to you. And so you go to the job each day, you do a great job, you get paid for it, but you're not able to really, I don't feel you're being fed with the things that give you your superpower. You're a giving person. And I bet at your job, you give and give and give. And kind of like Pip said in corporate America, it's probably one atta girl for 4 or 5, get this done. This was due yesterday. We need you to do this. And
Actually, there used to be a lot of atta girls. There's very few these days.
Mhm.
so, yeah, that is a huge discovery, because if her goals statement and her goal board are all surrounded about doing little things that she knows she can do. Like right now, you have stuff put away that you're going to be able to help the grandkids. You have all of that. So it's got to go deeper than that, or you're not going to make yourself do the uncomfortable of picking up the phone and making that approach. And let's face it, it's not comfortable. It is not like, there's times that I feel very comfortable making the approach with somebody, and there's many, many times that I will find 25 things to do before I pick up that phone. But once I start picking it up, it's like, oh, that was so easy. Why don't I just do it again? But it's just not a comfort zone for me to pick up a phone and make a phone call to somebody, even though I know that it will get me what I want. So what makes me do it? It's the goal statement. It's the goals. So huge discovery. I would definitely go rewrite.
Yeah. And I'd like to do more fundraising. I mean, I do my golf tournament, and I'm very proud to say that in 4 years, I've donated over $50,000 to the V Foundation for cancer research.
Awesome.
But I'd like to be able to do more.
Well, and I look and say, why wouldn't you be able to do 50,000 per year if you had the time to plan it ahead of time and you weren't scrambling at the end to get everything done around your work schedule?
Yeah. Sadly, we're not having one this year, but
it will come back.
gives me more time to plan for next year.
Yep.
Yeah. 2020, the year of vision.
If we only knew, right?
Yeah, right? Who knew that saying was what that saying was going to turn out to be?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we got about 15 minutes left. Who
I
wants to
think
go next?
Is Walter trying?
Walter's muted. You're muted.
Yep. I thought he was trying to say something. You're muted.
No.
I know I'm muted.
Okay.
Oh.
That's why I was shaking my.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say right now.
Oh.
I'm still working on goals. We're working on goals. Our goals are more short term, more for the realistic part of it, and just basically still getting started.
And I agree with you. And I will say this, if I could share a couple of your goals with everyone here. You guys have some big reasons for goals because of Lynn's health and what happened. So yes, part of it is income replacement and paying off those medical bills. Part of it is also her son and making sure she's providing. But I want you guys to really think in it that if all of those things were taken care of, what would you do with your time differently? Because again, like Maria, you both seem to be very, very giving people. and I think what happens is we give ourselves to a fault almost in terms of our jobs and stuff like that. And in the end, what do we end up with?
Mhm.
So it's not about just the money. It's about having the time to do what we were put on the planet to do. And, you know, if like for you, I look and say, okay, so you're a tennis pro and you're teaching tennis. That might be your gift. And you just happen to be able to make a career out of it. Not everyone's in that, but if that so happens to be, there's nothing wrong with that either.
And that's probably what I would still be doing,
Right.
whether I'm getting paid for it or not.
Perfect.
Perfect. So that's a very good example that, I mean, you're already doing something you love, something that you were gifted to give back. You're already doing that. Now I could bounce over to Harry, and I know Harry, you know, he likes his job, but he doesn't love working. So like, I'm going to ask Harry in a second, but before I get to Harry, I'm actually going to jump over to Paul and Denise, because Paul and Denise are retired. So Mr. and Mrs. Wendt, who are retired already and just enjoying life, what keeps you coming back to do this? What do you feel your purpose is? And that's going to be, like Pip and I, we each have our own individual purpose. You have something that's together because you're doing this jointly and you're a couple, but at the same time, we still have individual needs and desires and individual purpose. My purpose is not the same as his at all. So do you guys have any idea what your purpose is?
So I kind of feel a little bit like Charlotte. I was having a conversation with someone this morning, the girl that we're going to talk to Thursday, and you know, we were talking about health, and I found myself on a spiel, you know, of all the reasons that she needs to be focused on her health, you know, and not like preaching to her, but explaining to her how these things were working and what was happening to her body that was causing her to have these things, and how, you know, we could work toward helping her fix those. And I realized that I had to back off a little bit, because I was getting like way too technical, and I could see her eyes glossing over, and I'm like, but we'll talk about that later. But I realized after I walked away that, you know, I catch myself doing that and realize I know more than I think that I know. So that's what I was saying the other night about just not having that confidence or in myself, you know, to speak. So, but I realized that I enjoy helping people find their path to feeling better. And then I had a conversation with my son this afternoon, who's struggling financially and making this huge move to Anchorage. And so I'm coaching him through, you know, how to get caught up and, you know, getting through till he gets everything balanced out. And, you know, my background is finance. And I remember when I first started in the mortgage business, you know, I had no idea what the mortgage business was all about. You know, I was a secretary just making phone calls at the beginning. But this was back, and Pip probably knows what I'm talking about, when you had to fill out that HUD-1 settlement statement by hand and calculate it, and you had to balance all 4 quadrants, and then it had to balance with the second sheet. You had to do that all manually, and I loved that. I loved it. And one of my bosses one time told me, he said, you were meant for this business because you either have it or you don't. You either get the mortgage business or you don't. We can't teach it to you if you don't just get it. And so I know that I love working with numbers in that respect, and I know I love helping people figure out how to, like, you know, kids aren't taught what they're supposed to be taught, or what they've never been taught. They need
Not
to
at
be
all.
about finances. So, and you know, and when I was raising Brian, I didn't really know that part of it. You know, I was just playing with the numbers. So I kind of wish I could back up and teach him some things that I didn't teach him then. But, you know, so maybe now I can teach some people some of those things before it's too late for them. So those are things that are passionate for me, is teaching people how to improve their life, whether it's finances or health.
I think you might have an opportunity, because I think our system's going to change at some point, and I think you'll have the opportunity to teach people. I think our education system is going to change. I think it has to change.
Yeah.
And what's neat about what you said is you and Charlotte have a lot in common too, because the health products changed your life and took you from an ill status to a well status. And so the passion from that, you want to share because you know what happened to you. And I get that as well. I mean, from my own personal journey.
Yeah. Yeah, because before this, you know, if you had told me that I could take a vitamin and it would change, you know, me having to have a major surgery, I wouldn't have believed you, you know. So I get the fact that it's hard for people to grasp that. So I just want to try to find ways to help them open their eyes and see.
You have such a heart, Denise. You have such an incredible heart. And here's the thing. You say you didn't know how a vitamin could, but there was an ounce of curiosity in you, or you would never have made that text message to me.
Yeah. Well, it was a moment of desperation too, because I didn't want my leg cut open.
Right.
You know, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. You know, I'm willing to do anything else. Let's don't do that.
Right.
Yep.
If there was anything that I could implant in you in a vitamin, it would be confidence, because you have such an incredible story, such an incredible heart, and so much incredible information to share with people. I want to just give you a confidence pill.
Let's work on that one.
Write confidence on a tag and wrap it around one of your isotonics and take it every morning.
Yeah.
Paul, how about you?
I like working with my hands and working with tools. I could live down in my shop, except I just don't have a kitchen down there.
Well, you can obviously build one.
Good.
Or your wife can deliver meals to you.
And I like to help people, not necessarily widows, but older people that can't help themselves. Anytime somebody calls, you know, I'm willing to go help, do whatever, whether it's at church or home or just something to help somebody out with.
See, you guys have such incredible hearts. The challenge for you is you're comfortable with your retirement. So that's why you have to dig deep. So like I look at, say, Paul, you're honestly able to go do those things right now without building this business. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So Denise, it's going to be your passion of wanting to help people with wellness and wanting to help people understand finances. And that might be, like Pip said, school's going to change. It might be going and doing some online schools or tutoring or helping in the new school systems or whatever. I don't know what that's going to look like, but there's going to be so much opportunity for people to understand and finally be taught finances.
I think so.
And so I would look for opportunities like that and see how you can help. Contact some teachers in the area, get connected, because that's going to feed you and fuel you. And when you're fueled and you have the extra money coming in from this, it's going to give your financial mind peace of mind to be able to take lunch to your husband every day so that he can continue to do what he loves to do. And I know from our conversations that will make you very happy to serve him. So again, it's all about how can we be in service to humanity. So, all right, we got Harry and Laura left. Harry, are you ready?
Well, yes, in terms of, I really don't, there's not many times you sit down and think, what is my purpose in life? But like you said, after you get done with the job, then, you know, then what is your purpose? You know, but I guess I've looked at it before. I do like to help people. So if the money was there, you know, I'd probably work with the local food bank or something, you know, helping those less fortunate, as they say. But I really don't know. I've not gotten to that point where, you know, and that's almost like self-actualization, you know, it's like, if everything else is covered, what would you do, you know? So, but probably, you know, I guess we'd have to be working in the community and that type of thing.
So Harry, I'm going to pose a question to you because sometimes it's, you just hit the nail on the head. If you can't self-actualize it, what's happening is you're basically, what he means by that is I can't even imagine myself having money that I wouldn't have to go off to work every day. So if you cannot self-actualize that, take it and look at it this way. If I were to win the lottery tomorrow and I had millions coming in, one, would I go in and give my notice at my job? Would I quit? Because if not, that means you love your work. If you would, then it becomes, okay, think about the top 5 things you would do with that money. How would you divide it? Where would you give money back? Because most people would tithe with something. So who and what would you give your money to? 2, where would you travel to when you're allowed to travel again? Because we're going to be allowed to travel again. This isn't going to stay like this. So where would you travel? What would you buy? Where would you live? And what would you do for fun? And think of those 5 things, because sometimes it is hard to actually imagine when, you know, I don't know how old you are, Harry, but when you've been in the system for so long and worked to get paid and worked to get paid, the biggest thing for me when I started this is I had no clue what residual income was. I had no clue what leveraged income was. I couldn't imagine not working and still getting paid. And that was really hard for me. And I'll be very honest, that's why I sat at master coordinator for so long, looking back on it. Because I kept thinking if I ever get professional coordinator or higher, I would be working so much I'd never have time for my family. Because in order to make that kind of income in my brain was I had to work. And it's what stopped me from getting to professional. I sat at master coordinator. We didn't have senior master back then. I sat at master coordinator for 7 years. I broke through that because I started looking at these different segments of life and digging deep of what would I do. And I tell you, my first real experience with that leveraged income is when Pip got the diagnosis of his cancer. And we that year completely pulled in to focus totally on health. So we meditated every day. We juiced 3 times every single day. We grew our own wheatgrass. We went to the market. I drove to the natural farm to pick up fruits and vegetables for us every single week and then deliver them to other people in the area so that I could get ours at a reasonable cost. I did so many things, but the money still came in every week. We never missed a week paycheck during that year, ever. And that's when I truly understood leveraged income and residual income. It wasn't where we wanted it to be. We knew we had to keep growing, which is why we did. But the thing is, that's when I truly experienced it for the first time. So again, Harry, you might not understand or be able to comprehend it right now because you've been in the system for so long, your brain's been so manipulated to think you've got to go to work to get paid. And then when you retire, then you'll have something coming in. I want you to really think about, like, what do you just like think about? If I had a whole week, what would you do with your time during that week? Would you piddle around the yard? Would you work on little crafts? Would you work in your shop? Would you go, browse around? Would you go to a NASCAR race? Would you go, I don't know, what would you do? Really think about those things and how you would spend your money and your time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of those things sound pretty good.
I'll go to a race with you.
Okay. Yeah, when we can do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But,
fan,
thank
no
you.
fans allowed.
Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome. All right, Laura, you want to bring us in for a landing?
Sure. I'm going to flip this whole thing around, totally upside down. I've taught professionally 4 years and up till the day our first son was born. And I really was very blessed. If you want to use the word privilege, that's going around now. But Richard, you know, being the professional he was, we lived off of residual income forever. And my goal as a 17-year-old, I wanted to run away and join the Peace Corps. Not necessarily run away, but I wanted to go to the Peace Corps, and then I wanted to get married and have 10 babies. Well, I didn't go to the Peace Corps, 10. And then I got married, but no, stopped at 2 then 1, as it says. But yeah. So, but I taught to the day Gregory was born, and then I was a stay-at-home mom, not only for our 2 kids, and then 11 years later, our 3rd child, but I was a mom to everyone on the block. And I was the PTA, and I was a volunteer, and I did, you know, I did everything that all the working moms didn't do. I worked soup kitchens. I worked in the church. I did volunteer everything, wherever I was needed. Then when the kids got older and then they went to college, if they needed me there, I went there. If they needed me to help something at the house, I did that. If they, whatever anyone needed, my parents, relatives, I was there. And in fact, my first job, when I so excited, came home to Richard, I said, I got hired. He said, where are you working? I said, Morningstar School, private school. How much you getting paid? I don't know. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because it was the job, the situation. It was my own classroom. It was special ed. It was every special ed kid that didn't fit into any other class. So I said, yeah, I'll take them all. And so it never was about money, or, you know, never was. But now it is. It is about money. It's like, okay, what can I create? What if, you know, everyone's told they have a self-worth, you know, by the almighty dollar. And it's like, okay, what is mine? And it's like, can I create something? And so mine's a little different than everybody's else. You know, not that I'm going to stop taking care of people, because that's the first thing I did today. I dropped everything and went, and Richard goes, oh, okay, you know, because he knows that's what I do. And so I won't stop that. But now that we're approaching retirement very quickly, it's like, okay, you know, he's commission based. And it's like, okay, when that part of his business is over, now a fixed income, we've never done that. So it's like now I really have to, you know, rev this up to get past that master coordinator. I haven't really, you know, I wanted to, but I didn't have to before. And, you know, and then there's an upcoming wedding probably in a year. So now you're thinking, okay, you're retired, fixed income, you know, okay, what bucket's that going to come out of? So there's things like that. So yeah, mine is more personal now. You know, Maria, don't feel bad about that. You know, I mean, and that's why I hear a lot of people, you know, and I don't want to have to feel guilty that it's not about all that out there, because I've done that. Mm-hmm. And Beth has anointed me, you know, Mother Teresa, one too many times. You know, sometimes I even forget to even, you know, run the card for people for product, you know, so is it, you know, choose to forget or whatever? It's because that part hasn't been that big of a priority. But now it is. It's like, okay, now, you know, I've got to set out and finish what I started, you know, complete that dash.
But Laura, there's nothing wrong with that. The difference between you and Maria is the fact that you did all those things. You're both extremely giving people. Maria's so giving, but she doesn't have the time to do those things with her job that she has. And she has the heart to want to do those things. You, on the other hand, have done all of those things and now want security.
Mhm.
And security is another, there's a word for it when you have these different things that you want.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Well, it's hierarchy of needs, but it's like there's a certain name for the different things that somebody would want, and they fall into categories. There's nothing wrong with security. Security is one of those areas of need. And so right now, your area of need has changed from what it was years ago. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you never have to apologize for that.
Everybody's could change like that.
That's right.
Mhm. Yeah, so, I'm still teaching, I mean, within the realm of Market America, not so much in schools right now, but even teaching that was never, it was never for a substitute dollar or anything like that, is because friends of mine that have career teachers have said, oh my gosh, you've got to come in and teach because I know my class will continue learning. I was like, oh, okay, what time do you want me to be there? But, and it was, in fact, I never even looked to see, was I actually really paid correctly? And, I just wait till, print off my 1099 at the end of the year. And it's like, yeah, here it is. So, but would have I been able to do that if Richard didn't work the way he did? No. But, so it's not that I won't stop in, community work and helping people, but I have to, finish something for myself, so, cause I can look at, our daughter, and it's like, you're talking about corporate America, she's really just elevated herself to extremely high frequency and very fast in her career. And the people of her same, if you want to say level, are, like this one gentleman called her and said, you got to help me. What are you doing with your team? How are you expanding? How are you growing? How come everyone's so happy? And when she got to talking to him, he actually referred to his group of people who, mind you, are 4-year degree people, all accountants, crunching the numbers. The people, if you want to do this, way down here, that come in and just work 7 to, how it starts off in the Big Four. And he referred to them as the deep fryers in McDonald's. And Jessica just, she said, I had the longest pause. She said, I had to collect myself. And she said, she was so mind boggled because she takes her people out on her boat. She holds, functions at her house. She, of course, on Zoom, she does all these things so they know they're valued. And so finally she said, look, we can't talk about this today because I'm going to lose my cool with you. And she talked with him the next day and, and really told him, maybe the problem is, so, and Jessica's this career person, but I said, where does she get that from? Because, I didn't do that.
Well, it's part of who she's destined to be. And I'm going to use this.
I want to be like her.
Well, but I'm going to use this as closing because you just said exactly what we started with. What is your value?
Mm-hmm.
What is your value to this planet? We all have a purpose and a value. So I hope, I know this helped me a lot tonight to do this with you guys. I hope that this helped you, and I hope it helps you move forward, because the whole idea is that we're always moving forward, that we're always going to have blocks, we're always going to have bumps in the road, whatever, but the goal is to always be moving forward in your business. And everyone's learning curve or growth pattern is different. So Laura, for you to now be recognizing that and voicing it is huge, because I think that one of the things that holds you back is you feel guilty for the fact that you want something for yourself for a change. And release it, because you should not feel guilty. You've done so much to give. And now it's time to be able to provide so that you and Richard have a retirement that you can feel secure. There's nothing wrong with that. So amen. So anybody have anything for closing? I think that was I hope you guys feel as much as I do. I feel that was a very helpful exercise. I want to encourage you to go back, look at your goals again. If you are already just starting your goals, really dig in deep. If you're rewriting your goals, dig in deep. And make sure you're working with your teams to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is, like, this eventually will grow, but what's going to happen eventually is some of you are going to actually go off and end up having to have your own quarings, like meetings like this. You're going to have a team that you need to have. So like we do this with all of you, but we have 2 other teams that go off and have their own quarings each week. We're not involved in those. And that's what you want. You want to create leaders who then go off and do that. So you're going to have to get good at pulling these things out. And so we really wanted to push you a little bit, nudge you a little bit to do the things that need to be done.
Deep diving.
So
Awesome.
anything else for tonight?
Just one quick question. Is anyone having issue with the inventory tool in the back office?
In terms of what?
The things never go away. They
Yeah.
never go away. I mean, I put in sales receipts, I put in the personal, and then they're there again. So I have to keep doing it over and over again. Then they don't go away.
Don't do it over and over again. Every time it happens, every single time it happens, email corporate, computer support at marketingamerica.com, and tell them again, and tell them, just create the email and copy and paste it every time you try to do it.
Oh, okay.
Because if we don't bombard them with that stuff, it's not a priority.
So you are having trouble with it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like I can go in there and create our receipts, and then at the end of the month, go back in and do our inventory with what's on our shelf. And
Great.
it has never, ever, ever matched, ever.
Good. Mine doesn't either. Good.
Mine doesn't either. I've got jewelry that's not showing up that I bought.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't know why.
I just got my July auto ship yesterday.
Your July?
Yeah, that was due the first week of July.
Why? What happened?
UPS.
Oh,
They
you're
delivered
so
the
close
wrong,
to them too.
delivered the wrong
It was-
place, Maria?
No, it was in Myrtle Beach for 3 days. And I kept looking and looking and it was out for delivery. And then it was like postponed mechanical failure due to a mechanical issue or whatever. Next day, out for delivery, and then boom, postponed for
Yeah.
mechanical. So this happened 3 days.
Wow.
The fourth day I went in and it said damage has been detected. We'll notify the shipper.
Yeah, I got a big box.
So I waited a week. Then I called on franchise and said, has UPS notified you? I'm still waiting for my July. It's now 2 weeks after it was supposed to deliver. No, we haven't heard from them. So I gave them the order number, blah, blah, blah. Didn't hear anything back. Then I sent an email another week later and said, just following up on the phone call I had last week about this order, da, 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 da. And I got an email back saying, we'll put in for a reshipment, but UPS has still not notified them that this package was damaged.
Well, I can tell you, UPS and USPS have been an absolute chaotic mess since all this started this year.
I've had no problem with FedEx or the United States Postal Service. It's strictly UPS.
And I'm opposite. I have problems with FedEx and the post office, and UPS has been great.
I had an order. I put in a huge order for vitamins because the kids are going back to school. I always load them up with vitamins. This box was about, this big that came. It was so dinged up. My shake container had such a massive dent in it, almost cracked it open. And there was no paper stuffing. So everything just got thrown all around inside that box.
Yeah.
And the box looked like it had been through the war. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
That's the first time I've ever had a problem.
I had one come like that from Hobby Lobby. It was just all broken apart and there was like a plastic container thing that I had ordered. And it was just totally smashed. I mean, it was when I opened the bottom of the box was literally almost all the way open. I think there was a piece of tape this big on this gigantic box. that was still intact. I opened it up, there was just plastic everywhere.
Well, I will
So
say this.
I ended up just taking it back to the store and they gave me credit for it.
Well, and
I
I
think-
will say this, with anything Market America, if you ever get a damaged shipment, take pictures of it, call them immediately. Market America, if it's their fault, they will refund you, or not refund you, but they'll send you the product, replace it. And they don't give you a problem with it. Now, if it's UPS or USPS's fault, they're going to go back to them. They'll still replace the product, but they're going to go back, and they can go back and get their money back from that company. The challenge we have had is we ship the product to a customer from our shelf to Clermont, Florida, which literally is a 2-hour drive from us. I could have driven it there. It went to Jacksonville from our local area where we sent. It went to Jacksonville, and then it went to
You
Pennsylvania.
went to Pittsburgh or something.
It took 10 days to get to Clermont, and you cannot call USPS and put in any kind of missing package until it's been at least a month.
Oh, wow.
A month. And then you have, and I know this because I've had to do it, you have to stay on them every single week, and it will take usually anywhere from 3 to 6 months before they reimburse you. It's
Crazy.
so the time that you put into it almost isn't worth it. So just, I will say Market America is very good. If you get a damaged shipment, just call them. If if the box is
It
damaged,
never got here. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It
And-
never got here.
but you stayed on top of
Highway
it.
somewhere, probably from an 18.
Yeah, somebody else is enjoying my vitamins, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a package go from, that was supposed to go to Alaska. I went to Guam.
I'd rather go to Guam too.
A little warmer.
Yeah, but my sister's not in Guam.
Oh, you guys are funny.
Crazy. I mean, I feel for them, but you know,
That's their job.
That's their job.
it's your job.
And if it's not their passion, then they need to find us.
If it's that busy, hire more people.
That's right. So,
Yeah.
all right, you guys, have a good week. I'll be talking to some of you with calls.
Okay. Have a good
Bye.
week.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.